everybody, this is Caitlin, and you are watching Zombie Eats Books. It's been a while since I've said that. I've been super busy with school and will be busy with school for another 3 or 4 months, but I just wanted to finish up 2016 with the very few books that I read. As you can probably tell by my voice, I'm also sick. I was sick the entire break that I was off from school, and I was planning on filming at least 2 or 3 videos during that time, and that obviously didn't happen because I wasn't feeling very well. These are going to be really brief reviews. I read them, most of them, a while ago. Hopefully in like 3 months or so I'll be able to start regularly doing videos again. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Archivist Wasp by Nicole Kornher-Stace. This is a sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, dystopian sort of book, and it is about a young woman named Wasp, and she has a horrible job. She lives under these horrible circumstances, and the person that oversees her is basically a sadist, and she is a little bit different from the people that have come before her because she is inherently a fighter, and she is not necessarily resigned to her fate. I just want to say that this is a young adult novel, and I didn't know it was a young adult novel when I picked it up. I'm glad I didn't know, because I'm not sure that I would have chosen this book over other books. But it's one of those young adult novels that doesn't have a love interest. It's truly about a young person who is finding their way and finding out who they are. I really appreciated it for that, and I enjoyed it, and I think that if you enjoy young adult novels, then you should try this. Give it a shot. So a theme that you're going to notice with these books is that most of them are science fiction. Yeah, when I'm in school, I'm really into escapism because real life is just a lot of hard work. So, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers is what I read next. I think a lot of people have read this book, so I'm not going to talk very much about it. When I first started reading it, I thought it was pretty interesting that I had heard the reviews, I had heard everybody raving about it, and I liked it, I enjoyed it, but there was something about it. I wanted more grit, more fire, more cynicism, and I felt that way for maybe, I don't know, like 1/3 of the book or something like that. And then 2016 progressed in the real world, and all of the things that were happening politically, I ended up being really drawn back to this book and comforted by this book, and I really appreciated this book for its messages and the way that all of these different characters could relate to one another. Yeah, I ended up really, really loving this, and I'm going to definitely be reading the second. So I read Hardboiled, Wonderland and the End of the World by Haruki Murakami. I think it was translated by Alfred Birnbaum, and this was really, really interesting. I read it a really long time ago, and I wish I had written notes while I was reading it. What I do remember about this book is that it was just, the imagery was so striking, and I really loved the narratives, the 2 different narratives that don't seem to connect in the beginning, and then as the book progresses, they start to connect in different ways, and you start to figure out the little puzzle of that. I really enjoyed this. My only criticism, and it is kind of a big criticism actually, is that the portrayal of women in here is awful. Haruki Murakami apparently doesn't know how to write women. I've read another book by him. I can't remember what it was called. After Dark, maybe? That was really short, and, it was mediocre for me, and I don't really remember the way that he talked about women in that book, but in this book, he seems to associate like eating habits with women, and I mean their looks and their eating habits are so emphasized, and that really, really bothered me. Really wanted to shake the author and ask him if he had ever spoken to a real woman in his life, but I'm willing to read more of his work and see if that theme continues. I think that his writing style and his creativity is just really great. So I also read Revenge by Yoko Ogawa, and this is translated by Stephen Snyder. This is a collection of short stories. I would call them vignettes. They're really short. Just like Haruki Murakami, I just thought this was really visually striking. They were all linked, which was great. It made me think more than I think I would have otherwise, and the stories lingered after I had finished the book. I'm still thinking about why the collection is called Revenge, because this isn't a title story. It's just this title of the collection. And I don't necessarily think that there was revenge in all of the stories, but it's kind of interesting to think about when you think about how they're connected, because then, you know, maybe. Anyway, like I said, these reviews are going to be short. I will try to be more thorough when I have more time, but this was really enjoyable, and I would definitely read this author again. Okay, so last but not least, I also read The Threebody Problem by Sin Liu. I don't know how to pronounce that, and I should have looked it up before, but I didn't. This is translated by Ken Liu. So this is a really unique book. I mean, I think everybody knows that it's about an alien invasion, and the back says that, so I'm not really spoiling anything. It incorporates the history of science and math and philosophy, and it's just really interesting and well done, apart from whatever happened in the last parts that just didn't have me as interested. I think the only guess for me as to why that happened is there's something about the style of the writing that is very telling rather than showing. Like, there's lots of dialogue that's very explanatory. And for some reason it worked, I think, for the majority of the book, and then it either increased or I just got tired of it or something. And I mean, that's my only guess. Yeah, this is a mixed up review. What I'm saying is I really enjoyed this book. My enjoyment decreased as I got to the end for some reason. I don't really know why. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Like I said, those were really brief reviews. I don't normally do that, or I don't try to do that. So when I am not in school anymore, then there will be better reviews, hopefully. And yeah, so see you next time. Bye-bye.